Hey y'all, Tracy here to recap episode 6 of Issa Rae's Insecure. This week's episode is titled Guilty as Fuck. And yes, Miss Issa is very guilty after that night she just had with Daniel. So we pick up with Issa and she is arriving home after her little sexual twice with Daniel. And she's sitting in the car and she imagines herself, putting her grown woman on and doing the right thing, which would be going in the house and admitting to Lawrence that she has cheated on him and had sex with Daniel. And the outcome really isn't that great. So, she changes her mind and does what most of us would do in this situation, which is she went in the house and kept what happened to herself. So Lawrence can tell that, something's not right with her. He asks her if she's okay. She brushes it off and says that, she just had a really trying day at work. And so he has good news for her. He has been able to get the video, the broken pussy video off of the internet, which I'm thinking, okay, you're dating a tech guy. Why didn't she just go to Lawrence in the first place to see, if he had any connections that could help scrub the video from the internet, which of course he was able to do for her. So now she's really feeling bad about the whole Daniel situation. So she didn't even have to go down that route with Daniel, so she's feeling really guilty and she starts crying and she tells Lawrence, that she loves him so much and she really appreciates him. And then he makes it even worse by telling her that he went and picked up her dry cleaning. So now she's really feeling like a heel for what she did. So they try to have sex, but it's really not happening, and Lawrence can't figure out what's going on. But I'm sitting there thinking, okay, Issa, we know you didn't take a shower when you left Daniel's or before you left Daniel's place, and we didn't see you take a shower, once you got home. So I hope you're not trying to have sex with your man and you still got the other man's sex all over your body and all, up in your crack and everything. But anyway, she can't get in the mood because, she keeps having visions of, the wild sex that her and Daniel had probably no more than 30 minutes earlier. Remember Molly, she passed out on Jared's sofa, so she wakes up and, she's kind of like, where the hell am I? And then she looks over and Jared is sitting down at the dining room table and he's fixed himself some, I think it was crispy Cocoa Krispies, some childish childhood cereal, so she kind of like drags herself up and she's like, hey, and she goes over to the table and so she's kind of embarrassed and she's like, oh my God, I used to eat that cereal when I was in elementary school. And she's looking at the cereal, looking at Jared like, are you going to offer me any breakfast? But Jared wants to know, what's the deal with her? Why did she show up at his place? And, he just wants to know what's going on. And so, Molly lets him know that, she really did like him, and that she was sorry for the way that she treated him. And so Jared, he's munching on his cereal and thinking about her. And so then Molly, she kind of gets up like she's going to walk away. Like, dang, I can't even get no Cocoa Krispies. And so then Jared, he pushes the box towards her. So she turns around and she comes back. And he's like, well, don't get too happy because you're not getting no milk with that. So he made her eat the cereal out of the box. So as they're sitting there talking and being cordial to each other, I think I must have like fell asleep or blinked my eyes or something. Because the next thing I know, Mr. Jarrett was like about to bang Molly into the wall. I was like, what the hell, Molly? Like, what is going on with you now? At the rate you're going, I don't know who's keeping count, but girl, you're going to need another vaginal racial or whatever that was that you call that facial for your vagina because you're about to wear it out again. So we're back at Issa's and she's gotten up early and cooked Lawrence breakfast, and I think they had like blueberry waffles, she had scrambled some eggs. They had fresh fruit. I think she said it was strawberries and pineapples. And Lawrence seemed to be really impressed that they had real pork bacon. So I guess they'd be eating turkey bacon over there. As they're sitting down there eating breakfast, Issa, she's kind of feeling better about, what she did. And so she suggests that they go out later on that night. And, you can just tell that Lawrence is just happy that they're gelling together and they're getting back to the place they used to be. So Issa's at work and they're brainstorming an idea for a fundraiser. And so the team has decided that they want to go to Malibu to have this fundraiser, but every place, every venue that they contact, they're saying, well, we'll do it for you, but you can't bring the kids here. And then they're offering them incentives like free tables and chairs. And so the team thinks it's great and they're really excited. And then Molly is like, well, hold up, why don't we go to Baldwin Hills or Inglewood, so the kids can see the beauty of their own communities. And so the team is kind of looking at her like, we don't want to go there. But then the manager speaks up and she says that she thinks it's a great idea. And then, of course, what did I say that girl's name was? Frida. So Frida, she's like, oh, I think it's a great idea too. And then the manager looks at her like, will you stop kissing up to Issa all the time? And so, Frida kind of bites down. But they do decide to find a location in Baldwin Hills, I think is where they end up going. And so the entire time that Issa's, having this meeting, she's constantly looking at her phone, and we find out that Daniel is texting her. And I guess since Issa didn't contact him, now he's all in his feelings, kind of like that reverse psychology thing. So he's calling her, trying to figure out, what's going on and why she won't return his phone calls. And one thing about the job that Issa has on the show, and I don't know if it's a real organization, but I really like the concept of it. And I wonder if they do anything like that where I live. And if you get a chance, Google Failure Factories is actually a Pulitzer Prize winning series that was written in our local newspaper. And it addressed issues, like serious issues, that are taking place in 5 of the local elementary schools that are in predominantly Black neighborhoods. And once our school board did away with integration, and now the schools are back segregated, but they're not getting the funding and attention that they need to keep the kids on par with schools in other neighborhoods. And I think it's a really good article. And I think that this organization in this show would be something great for our community. So Molly's back home and she's in the kitchen and she's cooking up a storm and she's singing and dancing. So I guess she's all in love with Mr. Jared. She's on the phone with Issa and she lets Issa know that, that she's done with the Lead, which was the dating site, that she had been trying so hard to get into. And, she's letting Issa know that she really likes Jared. And Issa was like, girl, please, you fucked that boy, didn't you? And so, she can't deny it, but friends always know. They can tell that glow that you have in your voice and on your face when they actually see you in person after you've got some good sex to take care of your need. Jared shows up at Molly's house, and so that she opens the door, he takes one look at her, and next thing I know, he's banging her from behind, just tearing it up. I mean, those two, I like them together, but Molly's gonna mess it up anyway. So we're back to Issa and Lawrence, and they decide to go to the movie. So as they're coming out the movie theater, and I think they're in the mall, Lawrence suggests that they go over to this jewelry store. So they go into the jewelry store, and he asks the guy, can he see some marquee cut diamond rings? And so Issa's like all excited, and so the guy, he brings out the rings, and she picks out the one that she likes, and she tries the ring on. And then Lawrence says, do you like it? And when he says that, it triggers when Daniel asks her, did she like how he was tearing that thing up the other night? And so she starts to freak out and everything, and she takes the ring off, and she's like, well, can we just go? And so I'm thinking Issa must be on a serious guilt trip, because that ring was very nice. And for her to like, here's your opportunity to get engaged, and you just gonna turn it down, because you're feeling bad about what you did. But I'm glad she has a conscience, and that she does feel bad, because if she didn't, she'd be back over there with Daniel in a moment's notice doing it again. Back at Molly's, her and Jared are, they finally finished having sex, and so they're getting ready to sit down and eat. And they start talking, and they're sharing things about their past. Well, actually, Molly was sharing things about her past, and so she was telling him, that she's had a girl-on-girl sex experience, and some other things she was sharing with him. And then she was like, okay, why am I the only one talking? You tell me some things about you. And so Jared proceeds to tell her that he had sex with one of his bosses, I think his first boss, and that the lady was married. And then he said something about when he was in college, and him and one of his roommates got drunk one night or something. When they came back to their room, that the friend went down on him and gave him a blowjob, and you could hear the brakes squeaking like. Molly was like, stop right there. And I can't say that I blame her because if I was liking the dude and he told me he had had sex, any form of sex with another man, I think that would be a deal breaker for me also. And stop right there because I thought in a couple of episodes ago that the reason Molly broke up with Jared the first time was because he hadn't gone to college, or was it because he didn't graduate from college? So I was a little confused on that part. But back to the situation at hand. So Molly's asking him, how many times did you sleep with this guy? Like, how far did y'all go? And so you can tell that her head is all messed up over this situation. Yes, I know, it is a double standard because, like, when she told him about the girl, the girl on girl experience, he was like, oh, yeah, but I think it's totally different. I don't know why it's totally different, but guys have no problem with two girls being together, but girls do definitely have a problem with two guys being together. And they, we can be your friend, but we're not trying to be your woman once we learn that tidbit of information. So to make matters worse, Molly is out with her friends the next day, I think it was. So one of her friends' cousin has produced a play, so they're there to support him. And so they're standing in the lobby amongst like a room full of people. I guess they were having like a pre-show reception. And Molly, is talking about Jared's personal business, sharing it with her friends. And I'm like, girl, can you keep anything to yourself? Because even if you decide to stay with him, now you've shared this intimate detail with these people. So every time they see him, they're going to be giving him the side eye. Like, is he straight? Is he gay? Is he bi? Or whatever. And so everybody's telling her basically like, once a guy sleeps with a guy, I wouldn't touch that. It's not a good look. And then Issa, I think, was the only one that was saying, promoting the whole being sexually fluid and that, black men should be able to experiment with their sexuality. Everybody was looking at her like she was crazy. And, so Issa's like, she thinks she was going to give Jared another try, but she just didn't know if she would be able to do it. And I think at one point, Issa told Molly that she was being homophobic. But the other people was like, they didn't care. They weren't going for it. So tell me, what do you guys think about the whole situation? And ladies, if you found out that a guy that you like, had had a sexual experience with another man, would you be able to look beyond it? I would really be interested in hearing what people think. So, leave your comments below, and let's get the dialogue going. Because I think, as we progress with the whole gender, the gender discussions that are taking place, and this may become, I'm sure it's already happening, but it may be bigger and more widespread, like in the next generations or so, where people may be okay with it and not have an issue with it like many people have today. So we found out that Molly did change her mind, but it's really difficult and doesn't last long because her and Jared were out and they were at a like a little pub or diner or something. And so Jared was talking and laughing with the cashier for a little too long, and Molly's sitting at the table and she's looking over her shoulder like, how long are you gonna stand over there talking to that guy? And is he attracted to that guy? So she can't get it out of her mind. And then we have them, they're in bed together, and Jared's gone downtown on her, but Molly's just not feeling it. And so she tells him, to please stop and get up, and that, it's not gonna work, that she just can't, now that she knows that about him, it's not gonna work. So poor Jared, he's lost out again, and he just can't figure out, why he can't make Miss Molly happy. Now, before I wrap up, let's get back to that play. So the play was like this hood gangster rap type crucifixion of Christ reenactment or something. But it was so crazy, and they were dropping the F-bomb. It was like, my nigga this, my nigga that. And like it was Jesus talking to the disciples in this conversation. And it was just beyond embarrassing. And the friend, who had brought them there, she wanted to just crawl under the seat. And it was so funny because they were like, the ladies from the church were there with their church suits on and the big church hats. And Molly couldn't even see the play because she was sitting behind this one lady that had on this humongous hat. But she really didn't miss much. And that was just, It was disgraceful. Lawrence is still winning. There was a scene where he calls Issa to let her know that he had landed an interview with a tech company. And so while he was excited, Issa, she looks over and she sees that she's getting a parking ticket, and so she's really about to implode. And so her coworker Frida is like, it's not that bad, Issa. And she's like, yes, it is. How could I be so stupid? How could I let this happen? But of course, we know she's talking about the whole Daniel situation. But Frida thinks she's just really upset that she just got a parking ticket in the company minivan. Then we have Issa and Molly, and they're out having lunch, and they're both looking like they are just like at their wits' end and distraught. And so Molly, of course, was telling Issa how much she really liked Jared and she wanted it to work so bad, but she just, couldn't do it. And then Issa uses the opportunity to blurt out that she had sex with Daniel. And so Molly was like, oh my gosh. She's like, are you going to have sex with him again? And then Issa's like, no, I'm not going to do it again. So then Molly tells her, well, good, but keep it to yourself. Whatever you do, don't tell Lawrence. You can't ever let him know about this. Issa returns home, and, she decides to make love to Lawrence. It's like she's looking at him in a totally different light right now, and she's attracted to him. So she decides to, they're going to make love. So they were standing, I think Lawrence was in the bathroom, and he was kind of like rehearsing his answers, to the interview questions that, he's expecting to get. And so Issa, she takes off her clothes and she drops everything in the doorway of the bathroom. And they go to bed and they have sex. And then Lawrence wakes up in the middle of the night and he has to go to the bathroom. And on his way to the bathroom, he stumbles over Issa's stuff. And so he realizes that he stepped on her phone, I think it was. And so he bends down and he picks the phone up. And of course, there is a message on the display from Daniel, and he's basically saying, so is this how we're going to do it? You're not going to talk to me or something like that. And so the show pretty much ends at that point. So we don't know if, I think Lawrence did put the phone back down, but I'm pretty sure he read the message. We didn't get any kind of reaction from Lawrence because the screen, it faded to black. And so just like that was the end of the episode, this is the end of my review. And so leave your comments below and let me know what you think about the whole Molly and Jared situation. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, get out and do something great today. And I'll chat with you later. Bye-bye.